living in Milpitas, have you ever walked outside and on a hot summer day and thought, wow, it smells terrible? Well, that might be because we live 2 miles away from a landfill. And that landfill is accepting 4,000 tons of waste every single day. So today I hope to persuade all of you guys to reduce and repurpose the waste we all are producing. And we can do that by managing how we dispose of our waste so that it doesn't end up in the landfill, which will increase in size and numbers. And landfills not only take up space, but they also produce methane. And methane is a potent greenhouse gas, much more potent than carbon dioxide, which landfills also produce. But this methane and carbon dioxide will make a ground level ozone layer. And this, if people breathe that in, then they are at a higher risk of developing cardiovascular and respiratory diseases. In addition to the air pollution, landfills also can pollute the water. Leachate is basically rainwater that is polluted by this solid waste. And it can cause harm to people that live near it. For example, the Love Canal study was a study that was done because chemical waste was dumped into the canal, and children living near the canal had experienced hyperactivity, eye irritation, rashes, abdominal pain, and learning problems. And it also caused birth defects. And in addition to the health problems, it also causes harm to the environment. It can increase the algae production, and this algae will consume all the oxygen in the water and cause the aquatic animals to suffocate. And it can also contaminate the soil, which will reduce crop yields and harm wildlife, plants. And this methane is produced because of this methane and leachate is all produced because of those big piles in landfills. The decomposition of organic waste is what produces methane. So once this bacteria consumes all the oxygen, that is when anaerobic decomposition starts. And that's when the methane starts to be produced. And the nearby landfill is about 15 feet, is allowed to be about 15 feet tall. And
150.
150 feet tall. Yes. And you can imagine how tall that is, because it's about 12 floors tall. So it's really high, so you can imagine that the inside of the pile is not getting much oxygen. And landfills, newer ones, and the ones that are actually maintained and monitored, do have gas collection systems to collect 16 to 90% of that methane being produced by landfills. And this data is according to environmental protection agencies. Yes, but the rest of that data, the rest is just being released into the atmosphere. And leachate is being produced constantly because that ammonia and nitrogen that is in that polluted water is from the decomposition of organic waste material. It's just a byproduct. And then the heavy materials that is polluting the water, the heavy metal is in that water is from the hazardous waste materials, which is like batteries or electronic products. And there are collection systems for it, and that water will be treated and released back into the environment, but only about only about 90% of that nitrogen and ammonia is being removed, and only about 40 to 100% of that heavy metal is being removed. So the rest is just going into that environment. So these collection systems are not perfect, and so they can't be the solution. The solution is to stop it from its source. So we should stop sending all this waste into the landfills. We can do that by composting our own organic waste materials so that they don't end up in landfills. So to compost properly, we should find a bin, find a shaded area, and layer our greens, which are basically vegetable and food scraps, and then layer our browns, which are leaves and sticks. And then we have to add water and turn it every 2 to 4 days so that it introduces oxygen into there so that the bacteria don't start producing methane. And if it's too smelly, then that means you're adding too much water. And we should also recycle our bottles, cardboard boxes, cans, paper, and remove any food residues in there, or else they might be sorted out and then thrown into the landfill because of the food residue. And once recycled, those plastic materials, tin cans, can be produced into new materials. The plastic will be turned into pellets, which can be turned into furniture or new plastic bottles or clothing. The cans can turn into bicycles or construction materials or furniture. So to review what we've gone through, landfills are increasing in size and they are producing methane and leachate, which can harm people and the environment. And this is because of all the organic waste material we're sending over and all the hazardous waste we produce, which is like batteries and electronics. So to reduce that, we can compost and recycle so that they don't end up in landfills. So by now, I hope I have persuaded you all to repurpose and properly dispose of your waste so that it doesn't end up in the landfill. So you guys have probably all heard of reduce, reuse, and recycle, right? And so that is really important, or else we might end up like that movie WALL-E, where there's piles and piles of trash everywhere, and humans are not having a good time. So any questions? No? Okay, thank you. Thank you.
No question.
Good job.